What does Chicago blues mean to you?
Well, it means a lot to me. I think because it means a lot to the city,
Uh-huh.
and it means a lot to the fans, and it means a lot to the musicians. To me, I'm mostly I don't know what I don't know exactly how to answer that question, but I
Yeah.
love the blues,
Uh-huh.
and it means entertainment and
Uh-huh.
means my job.
Uh-huh. Do you have any favorite blues artists or past Chicago blues artists or current ones?
I produce and host a live blues event once a month called Blues Day Tuesday
Uh-huh.
for WDCB at Fitzgerald's in Berwyn, and
Uh-huh.
I'm almost to the point where I'm almost to the 5 year mark of doing that once a month. And I'd say my favorites are all the bands that play there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And additionally, I have additional favorites who cost a little too much for a $10 cover charge on a Tuesday night.
Right.
But you can just read me like a book because I keep booking my favorite bands there.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But there's a lot of them. There's at least I'd say 16 or 18 bands that kind of rotate through the years
Uh-huh.
at that place. Once in a while, we get a new one in.
Can you talk about the preparation that goes into your blues shows?
Yeah, well, I always include certain elements, and I kind of start with a base of that, and I have on WXRT on the Blues Breakers, I have an artist of the week, so I usually put 2 or 3 or 4 songs by that artist in.
Uh-huh.
At WDCB, I don't have a restriction like that, but I often play the same artists because they're being featured because they have a new album or they've got a birthday or they've got a big appearance coming up or something.
Uh-huh.
But really, I plug in the current releases that I haven't just played the week before, or
Mm-hmm.
I plug in people with birthdays. I like to remember artists on their birthday, partly because that forces me to not forget anybody through the course of a year,
Right.
and it pushes me around on the library a little.
Yeah.
So really, I'll put in the featured artists, new artists that I want to play,
Uh-huh.
birthday artists, and then I start filling in the rest just with random things by artists I haven't played too often, and
Uh-huh.
songs that I want to hear or songs that I've heard in the week leading up to the program,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and I rearrange the songs in some kind of sensible order, and there you go. I would like to think that my radio programs are completely unique as blues radio programs go, and that's because they're Chicago blues radio programs.
Uh-huh.
And unlike any other blues programs in any other city or any other place, the shows that I do are really for the Chicago blues community, the fans and the musicians. I have an intro I use for my WDCB program where I kind of explain the basic theory of what I'm doing. I say that I'll be playing blues from near and far, but a lot from right here. I play blues that's old and new, but a lot from right now.
Uh-huh.
So my shows were, when I first got into doing blues radio shows, I was inspired by Living Blues magazine and the Living Chicago Blues series of records that came out about that time on Alligator Records. And it gave me the idea that blues programs shouldn't be about history. It should be about the present time.
Uh-huh.
And it should be not about blues all around the world. It should be about blues right here. And the programs are about blues you can use. It's blues that you can go out and see now. It's blues that you can go out and buy now. It's a current living thing, and it's different in Chicago than it is anywhere else in the world. So a blues program from Chicago is, by definition, a different animal. I don't. I listen to other blues things that are available on the internet that are produced by big companies or smaller companies and individuals, and I can hear their format. I can see that we're playing a blues rock song with a lot of guitar now. Oh,
Uh-huh.
we're playing an old classic by a classic artist. Oh, we're playing a depth cut by a classic artist. You can just see the algorithms and the computers spitting out these programs.
Uh-huh.
But what I do is really dependent on who's got a new record and who's playing in town. And I think of those programs primarily as entertainment, primarily as something that's fun to listen to. But I also have a sense of obligation to the Chicago blues community to support the entire community of artists, clubs, promoters, and fans as best I can to try to contribute to its health. Health of the blues community. So when you put all those philosophies together, you've got a program, or two programs really, that are all about, more than anything, Chicago blues as a living, vibrant thing that's happening right now, right here.
Nice. That was really good response. I like that. That's good stuff, man.
It wasn't really a response to any question you asked, but
well,
that's my theory. I feel indebted to the Chicago blues community. If somebody in Chicago puts out a new album, I want to play it. I want everyone to know about it. I want everyone to know where they're playing and how you can get that music, how you can become a part of this living, breathing thing that's happening in Chicago like nowhere else.
Right.
And at the end of the year, especially at a time like this, I see all these lists of nominations for awards, and different people have the best albums of the year lists. None of those lists are anywhere near like what my lists are.
Yeah.
And I think it's because people around the country don't hear the Chicago blues like I hear it.
Yeah.
A lot of artists don't go on the road like they used to. You go back 20 years, and Lonnie Brooks would load up his band in a van, and they'd take off for 6 weeks. But you can't do that anymore. There aren't enough blues clubs. There's not enough work out there. So an awful lot of the Chicago blues doesn't really get out of town very much.
Right.
So whatever they're listening to in Los Angeles or Memphis, even places like New Orleans, it's not what we're hearing when we're in Chicago. And I'm all about Chicago.
Cool. Do you have a favorite Chicago blues club or favorites?
No, well, they're all my favorites. There aren't very many of them, but I love going to Rose's. I love going to Blues on Halstead. I love going to the Taylor Street Tap. I was just there last night. I always have a great time there. Of course, I love Fitzgerald's, and that's where our monthly showcase is. Yes, I MC the Chicago Blues Festival, and I've done that for years. That started out kind of slow. I would just be one of the MCs. I'd be there each day, and I'd introduce one act or something. But it just kind of grew into, I think it was, I don't think it was because I was the best imaginable MC. I think it was because it was just easy to have me do the whole thing that it kind of evolved into that. So I do the Pritzker stage, and other people do the other stages. And at Buddy Guy's, I used to MC a lot more there when Buddy would do his 16-night residency in January, but it's really drawn a lot more interest from a lot more people, and I have to kind of share my time emceeing Buddy at Buddy Guy's for other people who also want to do it. He shares the joy a little more than he used to. People just ask me, it's kind of how it came about. But also WXRT, under its previous management, had a philosophy of promotional value of having disc jockeys appear on stage at musical events that related to the radio station, and wanted to get all of its disc jockeys out there emceeing concerts as much as possible. And so for me, that led to emceeing a lot of different concerts, but primarily blues concerts I'd be chosen for. So that's part of how it started. But in the blues, unlike a lot of kinds of music, a lot of the artists really like to have someone introduce them, and there I am. So they asked me.
How is it different now than when you started? What are the changes that you have seen?
Well, I started so long ago. There's been a lot of changes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I first started in the Chicago market in 1975. Some people have the idea that radio really leads people's tastes around.
Uh-huh.
Songs are popular because they're on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And from my vantage point, it's really just the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
The radio stations, mostly these days, commercial radio stations, they follow the listener's tastes.
Uh-huh.
They play what they already know the listeners like.
Uh-huh.
Of radio change over the years. I mean, certainly compared to 40 years ago, there's people listening to the radio now are the grandchildren of the ones that were listening to it 40 years ago.
Right, right.
And they have different tastes. They want different things. And the kind of music they listen to is different.
Uh-huh.
And back in the 70s or even the 80s, a lot of the popular rock music sounded a lot more like the blues than popular music does now.
Right, right.
So I think that the blues really fit in with popular music maybe better then than it does now. You know, when WXRT was in its very early stages, like I said, in the 70s, the music that we were playing was by the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin and The Who and all these bands that had great guitar players, and they were all doing blues licks, and really it was pretty closely related to blues.
Right, right.
But popular music now isn't so much, and so I don't think the blues really fits in with the formats like it used to.
Do you think there's hope for a blues crossover song to make the Billboard Hot 100 or like the future of the blues? You ever seen something cross over to make it to the current charts?
I can't say no, that's for sure, because anything could happen. And every once in a while, there's somebody that just breaks out and is really popular. But it's not what the popular music stations are looking for.
Right, right.
But it could happen, and I wouldn't give up hope, and I can't imagine it happening. There again, it's really, the radio stations are really following the people's choices, and if somebody it was really popular, and that could happen.
Final question for you. What else do you want to accomplish, or is there anything else you really want to do in radio that you've yet to?
No, I'm kind of winding down my career. I'm not looking at the future as a place where I want to work more. I look at it as a place where I want to work less.
Nice.
But I'm really happy the way things are going now. You know, at WXRT, I was there for, I like to point it out that it was 33 and a third years working full time, and now I do there what is my most favorite part of what I ever did there, which is the blues show. And then doing the blues show at WDCB, that's just wonderful, and I love doing that. And it's a different kind of radio station, a different kind of approach, and I get 2 hours without commercials, so I can get a little deeper into the music. So that's wonderful too. The Blues Day Tuesday, the monthly event and live broadcast, is great fun as well. So I'd like to see it all continue.
Nice.